listener, traveler. I have part 3 of our story here for us today. I hope you've enjoyed parts 1 and 2, and let's get started. Sleep shatters like thin glass. A hand clamps over your shoulder, not gentle, not patient. Urgency pulses through it like a second heartbeat. Wake up, now! Seraphine's voice is a blade wrapped in velvet, low but cutting. When your eyes open, the world is wrong, dark. The fire is dying, the night feels crowded. For a heartbeat, there's nothing, just trees, shadows, breath fogging faintly in the cold. Then you hear it. Not one set of footsteps, but many, soft, measured, and deliberate. Hunters. Seraphine is already moving, crouched low beside you, her gaze fixed somewhere beyond the tree line. Her usual composure tightened into something sharper, a predatory way that does not comfort. They found us faster than I thought, she murmurs. We don't have time to argue. Just move, quietly. A pause. Her eyes flick back to you, searching, weighing. Stay close. A branch snaps in the distance, closer than it should be. You're on your feet in an instant, the last scraps of sleep burned away by adrenaline. The forest around you feels transformed, no longer a place of rest, but a maze of watching and listening eyes and ears. Seraphine moves first, not running, not yet. She glides between the trees, choosing her path with surgical precision, placing each step like she's done this 100 times before. You follow, matching her pace, forcing your breathing to quiet, to control. Behind you, a low whistle, answered by another. They're coordinating. They're spreading out, you whisper. I know. Her voice is tighter now. Another sound joins the chorus. A faint metallic shifting of weapons, leather creaking, the soft thud of boots that know how to hunt but don't want to be found. A lantern hooded low. A figure crouching to the ground, examining the ground where your fire had been. They've got trackers, you breathe. Seraphine's jaw tightens. Of course they do. For a moment, it seems like you might slip through. The roots and forest is dense here, like grasping fingers, underbrush thick enough to swallow sound if you're careful. Then the wind shifts, and everything changes. One of them lifts their head and sniffs, and even at this distance you feel it. The awful, certain presence of being known. There! A voice cuts through the dark, too loud, too confident. They've seen you. Run! Seraphine doesn't wait this time. She moves like a released arrow, speed uncoiling all at once, her form slipping between trees with unnatural grace. You follow, crashing where she glides, but fast enough to matter. Behind you, the forest erupts. Boots pound, voices shout. Something whistles past your ear, a bolt, fast and hungry, embedding itself in a tree ahead of you with a violent thunk. Don't go straight, she calls over her shoulder. They'll hurt us. You veer, cutting sharply to the left, then to the right, forcing your path to something unpredictable. Branches claw at your arms, roots threaten to trip you, but you keep moving. Another bolt, closer. "They're not trying to scare us," you shout. "No," she replies, breath steady despite the speed. "They're trying to slow you." That lands heavier than it should. She didn't say us. She said you. A shadow drops from the trees above. You barely have time to react. Steel flashes. You bring your weapon up just in time to catch the strike, the impact ringing through your bones. The hunter before you is masked, eyes sharp, movements efficient. No wasted motion. They expected this. You twist, shove them back, creating space, but more shapes are closing in, fanning out, tightening the circle. Seraphine is there in a heartbeat. One moment she's beside you, the next she's beside the hunter. Her movement a pale blur, dark and light. The hunter gasps more in sharp than pain as she strikes, precise and controlled, dropping them without flourish. "Move," she snaps. You don't argue. You break through their line, deeper into the forest where their terrain grows uneven and treacherous. The ground dips suddenly, a shallow ravine cutting through the earth like an old scar. Seraphine skids to a stop at its edge. Behind you, the hunters are gaining again. You can hear them now, closer, their coordination tightening you like a net. She looks at the ravine, then at you. "Can you make that jump?" It's not small. It's not a safe jump, but it might be enough. You might be able to make it. Another shout echoes behind you. No time to choose. You run or you die. The forest, the world narrows to this edge, to this distance. The pounding of your heart. You leap. For one suspended, impossible moment, you're weightless. Then you hit the other side, hard, rolling, the breath knocked from your lungs, but alive. You scramble up just as Seraphine lands beside you, far more gracefully. She turns, immediately scanning behind. The hunters reach the ravine a moment later. They hesitate. For just a second. But it's enough. "Go," she says now, urgent but steadier. "We bought ourselves a little time." You don't stop running until the forest changes. The trees grow older here, taller. Their branches knit together overhead, swallowing what little moonlight dared follow you. The underbrush thins, the ground softens, and the sounds of pursuit fade. Distant. Seraphine finally slows for a second, then stops. For a long moment, neither of you speaks. Silence presses in, thick and alive, broken only by the sound of your breathing. She exhales slowly, tension unwinding from her shoulders in careful increments. "They won't follow us blindly in here," she says, not without regrouping. A pause, then quieter. "You did well." Not said lightly and not tossed out as comfort, but earned. Truly. She turns to you then, really looking as though confirming you're still whole, still here. Something in her expression fractions. Something in her expression softens, just a fraction. "We're not safe yet," she adds, "but we're closer." The word hangs there. Closer to what, she doesn't say, but you both know. The hollow waits. There's a difference in this forest where you are right now. You feel it in the way the air sits heavier here, the way the wind doesn't move to disturb the trees. Your pace has slowed, though neither of you had said so out loud. You're not quite safe, not yet, but no longer being actively hunted, so movement seems like a good idea. That alone feels like a stolen breath. Seraphine walks a few steps ahead now, no longer sprinting, but not relaxed either. Her posture remains alert, her head turning ever so slightly at each unfamiliar sound. She listens the way the predators do, not just for noise, but for absence. What should be there isn't. For a while, neither of you speaks. Only the soft rhythm of footsteps, the faint rustle of leaves, the distant, uncertain call of something that might be an owl. Then, you're wondering. Her voice slips into the quiet like thread through fabric. She doesn't look back, but she knows. You glance at her. About what? You ask. A small, almost smile ghosts across her lips. About me, she says simply. People usually are, especially after a night like that. There's no accusation in it, or pride either, just awareness. She steps over a fallen branch, barely disturbing it, her movements returning to that careful, deliberate grace. You've seen enough to ask the question properly, she continues. So go on. A beat. Ask it. You hesitate for just a moment. Then, you don't feed on people, you say. Not unless they agree. She nods once. Yes. Why? It comes out more direct than you intended, but she doesn't flinch or deflect. Instead, she slows and finally stops. The forest seems to lean in. Seraphine turns slightly, not fully facing you, but enough that you can see her expression in the dim light. It's thoughtful, rather than defensive or ashamed. Asking a predator why it chooses restraint, she murmurs. It's a very mortal kind of question, isn't it? Her gaze drifts past you, somewhere distant, not in space, but in time. I wasn't always like this. Not the way you mean. A pause. When I first turned, I told myself the same thing all young monsters do. A faint, bitter edge touches her voice. That I would be different. She lets out a quiet breath. I wasn't. A branch creaks softly overhead, but neither of you looks up. Hunger, she continues, softer now. It's a persuasive thing. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It waits. Her hand lifts slightly, fingers curling as if remembering the shape of something unseen. It tells you that just this once is fine. That you need it. That you deserve it. A faint smile touches her lips, but there's no warmth to it. The first time you listen, it's very, very easy. Her gaze flicks to view then, sharp for just a moment. The second time is easier. Silence stretches between you, heavy, honest. You shift slightly. So what changed? For a long moment she doesn't answer. The forest quiet fills the space. Or rather, leaves it empty. Then I met someone, she says, careful and simple. They knew who I was, what I'd done. Her voice doesn't break, but something in it tightens. They didn't run. A pause. They didn't forgive me either. They just gave me a choice. She turns fully now, meeting your eyes. No grand speeches, no threats, no illusions of what I was capable of. Just a single question. Her voice lowers, quieter than the forest, echoing in the silence. Do you want to keep being this? The air feels colder. Maybe that's just the weight of the question settling into your bones. I didn't answer right away, she admits. I don't think I even understood the question at first. A faint exhale, almost a laugh. But it stayed with me. Every time I fed, every time I justified it, I told myself I didn't have a choice. Her eyes hold yours down, steady and unflinching. But I did. Silence again. But this time it's different, more open. So, she says at last, the edge of something softer returning. I started asking. Consent, as you call it. A small tilt of her head. It's not as clean as it sounds. People agree for all kinds of reasons. Desperation, curiosity, bargains they don't quite understand. Her gaze sharpens slightly. I make sure they do. You study her for a moment. Then, the vials, you ask. That's part of that. She nods. Easier, she says. Safer for everyone involved. A beat. Less tempting as well. Something unspoken there about proximity and control. You walk again. The forest begins to change as you do, subtly at first. The trees grow farther apart, the ground less tangled. The oppressive weight of the place eases just a fraction, like a held breath finally being released. Seraphine notices it too. Her shoulders lower slightly. We're getting close, she says. Ahead, the darkness thins. Not into daylight, but into something softer. The trees give way to a gradual slope, and the forest opens just enough to reveal the suggestion of something behind. Stone. A cliff face. And, faintly, if you squint at it, marks carved into it. Seraphine slows. For the first time since you met her, she looks uncertain. The runes, she says, sighing softly. Old magic. Druidic. Not the welcoming kind. The cliff waits, silent, watching. The forest exhales you. One step, and the dense press of trees loosens its grip. Another, and the canopy thins, allowing a pale, silvery light to spill down the slope ahead. Not sunlight, but a soft moonlight. The ground rises gently between your boots, roots giving way to stone. And there it is, The cliff face stretches upward like the spine of something ancient, its surface carved not by time alone, but with intention. Those symbols deeply etched, weather-worn but unbroken, crawl across the rock in looping, interwoven patterns. You know them immediately. They're the kind that are etched for warning. Seraphine stops just behind you, not hiding or shrinking, but aware. Her voice is quieter now, touched with something rare. Respect. They hated what I am, she says softly, eyes tracing the runes without meeting them quite directly. Not out of fear, but out of principle. You step closer to the stone. I'll have you make me an Arcana check. Okay. You feel it settle into your mind like an old memory. The place does not bar the dead outright. It judges. Undead may pass if vouched for by a living will, and only if their presence doesn't violate that balance that those druids swore to protect. Seraphine doesn't move forward, she doesn't even try. She waits for you. The entrance yawns at the base of the cliff, a large cave mouth wide, shadowed, framed by twisting roots that have grown into the stone itself, as if the forest tried to reclaim it once and failed. The runes pulse faintly. You can feel the magic flowing off of them. This is where you speak, Seraphine says quietly. You step forward, the air thickening around your chest, your throat, like unseen hands pressing gently. And I'll have you make me a persuasion check. Nice, 15. You speak your intent to let this being pass through the caves and into the hollow, that you vouch for her, that you know she is not harmful to people directly. You talk about how you know, how she's spoken about people, how she's acted, your own experience with her drawing your blood. The runes shift, not visibly, but you feel it, the pressure easing slightly like a door somewhere unlocked deep within the stone. Seraphine exhales, not relief, but something close. You step inside together. The world changes. The cave is not that dark, not truly. A soft bioluminescent moss spreads across the walls in pale blues and greens, casting a dreamlike glow that shifts as you move. The air is cool but not cold, still but not stale. And beneath it all, a pulse, faint, rhythmic, like a heartbeat buried deep within the earth. Your footsteps echo. This place, she murmurs, doesn't just test entry. It remembers. Her eyes flicker along the walls. The tunnel curves, then splits. 3 paths ahead, each one lit, each one waiting. As you step down the center path, the cave moves. Not physically, but the walls ripple like a memory being stirred, and suddenly you're not in the cave. world reshapes around you. You stand in a small clearing. Daylight filters through gentle leaves. The air is safe, warm. Seraphine stands a few paces away, but something is wrong. Her posture is different, her eyes hollow, starving. A figure stumbles into the clearing, a stranger, alive, bleeding, vulnerable. Seraphine inhales sharply, and this version of her doesn't hold back. She lunges. I'll have her make a check at advantage with you helping her. Critical success, very nice. She pauses, mid-hunt, mid-lunge, almost, just as she's synced into a hunter's crouch. She freezes, takes a breath. She looks at you. Something in her gaze shifts. Silence. And then the world cracks. The illusion collapses and you're back in the cave. She stands beside you, but she's very still. The second tunnel awaits. You take the left path this time. The cave reshapes again. Only this time there's no illusion of peace, just darkness and eyes within it. Shapes move at the edges of your vision, twisted, broken, feral vampires, not like her. One steps forward. Its voice is a mockery of elegance. You walk beside a monster, it hisses at you, and it pretends it's something else. Another voice from behind you. They'll become this. You're a fool to think otherwise. Seraphine stands beside you, silent. She does not defend herself or argue. She stands with her chin high, and I'll have you make a persuasion check this time with her helping you. Alright, not bad, a 15. You declare what you believe about her. They are not the same. She is not them. And she is not the monster that they believe she is. She glances at you, her eyes wide. Wide with trust and with surprise somewhat that you seem to truly believe her. The creatures recoil from that certainty in your voice. They unravel, dissolving into drifting ash. And you're back in the cave. Seraphine exhales slowly. Her voice, when it comes, is quieter than before. Those are the ones they should hunt, she says. The bitterness and anger in her voice ringing softly. And you have a final path ahead of you. As you step down it, you feel that it's different. There's no illusion, no shifting world. You continue down the path for some time until you find a simple stone basin at the center of a small chamber. Clear water fills it. Still, perfectly still. Written on the plinth below. Life for passage. You understand instinctively a sacrifice. Not death, but something willingly given. Seraphine stiffens slightly. No, she says immediately, firm, certain. Her hand catches your wrist, not roughly, but with intent. The water does not react. It simply waits. And this is your choice. Do you want to offer the blood? Do you want to look for another way? Or do you want to maybe try talking to the water, attempting some kind of persuasion check, but I'll have you make an attack roll against yourself. You hit, and the knife that's in your pocket, you pull out and slice against your wrist. The moment your blood touches the water, it glows, warm, alive. The basin empties without spilling. Accepted. The red, flowing liquid sinks down, draining away, and Seraphine's grip softens. She looks at you, not alarmed or angry, but with something else, something deeper. The cave breathes. The path ahead opens wide, and light spills through. Real light. Seraphine steps beside you, very close now. Her voice is soft. You didn't have to do that. A beat. I won't forget that you did. Ahead, the cave opens, releasing you gently, like a held breath finally ready to let go. One more step and the stone gives way beneath your boots to a soft, living earth. And then light. Not the harsh gold of midday or the pale silver of moonlight, but something in between. Warm, dappled, alive. You emerge into a vast open clearing, cradled in a bowl of ancient trees so tall their crowns vanish into a canopy that glows faintly, and at the center a tree, not just large but impossible. Its trunk is wider than a city street, bark etched with natural spirals and old, slow-growing symbols that seem to have shaped themselves over centuries. Its branches stretch outward like open arms, and from them hang soft lanterns of woven moss and light, swaying gently in the wind. Beneath it, life. The hollow breathes. Voices drift towards you first, laughter low and easy, the murmured conversation layered in a dozen accents, a dozen species, the clink of tools, the hum of trade. Then the shapes begin to resolve themselves, people of every kind. A horned tiefling bartering over bundles of herbs with a stooped dwarf whose beard is threaded with beads of polished bone. A pair of elves argue amicably over the tuning of a stringed instrument, their music spilling into the air like spilled sunlight. A child, half-orc perhaps, runs past with a creature at their heels that looks like a fox made of curling green leaves. No one is afraid or hiding. The air smells of fresh bread and turned soil, of something sweet and unfamiliar that clings softly to the back of your senses. It is safe. Not the temporary, fragile safety of a hidden campfire, but something built, maintained, chosen. Seraphine stops beside you, and for the first time since you've met her properly, she goes still, not tense or alert, but relaxed and still. Her breath catches, barely. You might have missed it if you weren't standing so close. "This is it," she says softly, and her voice, it's different, lighter. Not because something has finally been added, but because something has finally been set down. As you step forward, together heads turn, not sharply with suspicion, but with curiosity and awareness. A few gazes linger on her, some recognizing what she is immediately, others perhaps sensing it in quieter ways. But no one reaches for a weapon and no one recoils. An older woman approaches first, human or something close enough to pass. Her hair is silver, braided back with small wooden charms, and her eyes are sharp in a way that suggests that she sees more than most. She looks at you and Seraphine, then back at you again. "You vouched for her," she says. It's not a question. You respond with confidence and clarity. Your words land easy. Truth carries here. The woman nods once, satisfied. "She may enter," the woman says, simple and final. Seraphine inclines her head, not submissive or overly formal, but respectful. The woman's gaze lingers on her a moment longer. Then, unexpectedly, she smiles. "Welcome home," she says. Something in Seraphine breaks at that. It's not visible, really, or a very dramatic response, but you feel it. Same way you felt the cave watching, quiet, deep and undeniable. She lets out a breath and steps towards the hollow. Slowly at first, as though expecting it to vanish, and then a little faster as people begin to greet her. A nod here, a curious glance there, a quiet exchange you didn't quite hear. But no fear or hostility, just space for her to exist. She turns back to you, and for a moment the world narrows, and it's just the two of you standing on the edge of something vast and new. "I suppose," she says, a faint, playful curve returning to her lips, "this is where I stop being your responsibility." There's that spark again, that lightness, but softer now, warmed by something real. She steps closer, close enough you can see the subtle shift in her expression. Gratitude, yes, but more than that. "You didn't just get me here," she says quietly. "You stood for me. A beat. In a place that might have turned me away without it." Her gaze flicks to the hollow behind her, then returns to you. "I won't forget that." There's a pause, a full, long pause. Then she leans in, gentle, unhurried, and presses a soft kiss to your cheek. It's brief but very intentional, and when she pulls back, there's a warmth in her eyes that wasn't there before. It's not hunger, never that, but something steadier and chosen. "Take care of yourself," she says, a small tilt of her head. "Try not to step on any more traps." There it is, that playful edge again, alive and well. She turns, no hesitation this time. not looking back. She walks into the hollow, into the light, into the quiet hum of voices and life and possibility. And the space seems to open for her as she goes, folding her into it like she was always meant to be there. And just like that, she's no longer yours to protect. And just like that, she's no longer yours to protect. The great tree sways gently overhead. The hollow breathes. And you stand at its edge, the echo of her presence still warm against your skin. Your path continues. But this one ends here. And that's where we'll leave this story on. I hope you enjoyed this series, and if you have any suggestions for future series, I always recommend leaving a comment. We'll have another story for you soon, but other than that, I hope you have a good rest of your night, day, or whatever time it is for you. As always, if you want to see more of my content, hit the subscribe button. You can be notified for new content that comes out. But yeah, have a great night.